Hey guys, I'm back. I have another review for you because I went and rented a few movies last week. So anyway, this one is called Almost Human, and it is an alien abduction, alien rampage kind of story, I guess you would say. This movie was actually at TIFF last year. It was one of the movies in the Midnight Madness program, and I was considering going to see it, but I didn't end up seeing it there. So I've seen it now. Anyway, it's a first-time directorial debut by a guy named Joe, just one second, Joe Begos or Begos, Begos, B-E-G-O-S. Sorry if I mispronounced your name, Joe. But anyway, it's his first film, and it was entertaining. You know, it was good. But it was kind of derivative. You know, like I saw a lot of influences in this movie, and actually there's like, you know, on most DVDs how they have like bonus features. I was checking it out, and one of them was the making of Almost Human. So I was watching a few minutes of it, and he was talking about how he was a fan of alien abduction and slasher films, and I could definitely see those influences in this movie, which I'll get to in a minute. I'll tell you a little bit about them. But anyway, okay, so the movie starts off, the first scene is this guy, he's in this truck, he's like barreling along this lonely country road at night. The movie is set in Maine, in this town called Patten, Maine. And so anyway, he's booting along, he's like looking panicked, he's freaking out, he's like, you know, going 100 miles an hour, speeding along. He gets to this house and he's like jumps out of the car and he's like banging on the door, let me in, let me in, let me in. And so his friend, this kind of lumberjack looking guy, opens the door and lets him in, and he's like, hey, what's wrong? What's going on? And he's like, well, I was just with my friend Rob. I was with Rob in the truck, and we saw this big blue light overhead, and it took him, right? And he's like, what do you mean it took him? And all this stuff. So anyway, he's, you know, looking skeptical about the story, but this guy's going over the windows, he's looking out, he's trying to see what's going on, and then, like, the lights start flickering on and off, and this guy, his friend, whose name is, one second, sorry. Okay, the lumberjack-looking guy's name is Mark, and the main character in the movie, the guy who is barreling along in the truck, his name is Seth. And anyway, so he's in this house, he's looking out the windows, he's like, you know, looking up and all this stuff. And then this guy, Mark's girlfriend, comes wandering out of the bedroom going, hey, what's going on? Her name is Jen. So anyway, the lights start flickering on and off, and then they start hearing this, like, piercing, loud, shrieking noise. And they're all like, you know, covering their ears and like, you know, freaking out and stuff like that. And then the door opens in the apartment, and this guy, Mark, who's kind of like, he seems like kind of more like a tough customer, like, I'm going to see what the hell this is. And he's like, don't go out there, don't go out there. But of course, sure enough, he goes out there and you see like this blue beam come down, and then the guy disappears. Okay, so then flash forward 2 years later. The movie starts, so 2 years later, and this guy, Seth, he's looking really rough. He's, you know, looks like he hasn't slept for days. He keeps getting these nosebleeds. And they start seeing reports on the news about more of these lights in the sky. And then we find out, like, when this first incident happened, when his friend disappeared, he had been questioned by the cops and stuff like that. They thought he possibly murdered him, had something to do with their disappearances. But, of course, they couldn't prove anything, so they let him go. So he's kind of been under this, like, cloud of suspicion and stuff like that. So he's been through the shitter, this guy. But anyway, he's still looking as freaked out as he did in the first scene of the movie. He's looking really paranoid. He's, like, worried all the time. He's stressed out. And he goes to see this guy, Mark's girlfriend, who is now engaged to some other guy. She works at this diner as a waitress. And so anyway, he goes to talk to her and says, listen, did you see the reports on the news about the lights in the sky? So I think something's going to happen. I've got a bad feeling. So anyway, then there's a scene where these two hunters are in the woods. These two guys are just wandering along. They've got their rifles with them. They're talking. And then one of them says, hey, what's that over there? Is that a body? Because they see something like lying on the ground in the trees. And so they go over and they look, and there's this guy, this nude guy lying there with his back to them. And he's just kind of like shivering and stuff. And they're like, hey, like, dude, are you okay? And of course, so they bend down to like look. And it turns out to be this guy, Mark, who had disappeared 2 years earlier in this blue flash of light. And then that's when like a lot of mayhem ensues. Now I don't want to give away all the stuff that goes on, because there's some really, really great effects in this movie. There's some great, okay, because this guy Mark, he comes back and he's like this alien killer basically, and so he does away with these two hunters, and then he just kind of goes on a rampage and goes killing people in the town, and there's some good effects. There's some good effects. Hold it. Okay, so I don't want to give away like all the scenes that happen, everything that happens in the plot, because there's some really good scenes here. But when I talked earlier about this movie being kind of derivative, yeah, like I noticed a lot of that. Like when this guy Mark, who is now an alien, like he opens his mouth and emits this like, you know, loud, wailing, piercing shriek, it instantly reminded me of Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the version with Donald Sutherland, and I think it was made in 1978. Love that movie. Classic movie. But it was like totally reminded me of that, okay? And then there's another scene when this guy Mark goes to this apartment, he tracks down his old girlfriend, and she's running away from him, and he's like coming after her with an axe, and, you know, she's hiding in this closet, and that reminded me instantly of The Shining, of course, when, you know, Wendy goes hiding in the bathroom, and Jack's coming after her with the axe, and he starts axing through the door, you know, here's Johnny, that kind of thing. This guy ends up, you know, axing down the front door, you know, exactly a Shining thing there. And then when she's hiding in the closet, you see her, like, looking through, like, the slats, because it's one of those, like, shuttered doors, and you see her looking through, like, the shutters and seeing him, and that instantly reminded me of Halloween, when Jamie Lee Curtis is hiding in the closet from, what's his name, Michael Myers, and, you know, she's looking through and seeing his shadow go by and stuff like that. So I saw a lot of, like, influences in this movie that were kind of cool, because I recognized every single one of them. And I think there was even one more. Oh, yeah, like, all the alien stuff. Like, at the beginning of the movie, where he's in the truck and he's, like, barreling away, that reminded me of this really, really great, I think the best alien abduction movie I've ever seen, was a movie called Fire in the Sky. I think it was made in I'm not sure if it was made in the 80s or 90s, but that was a really, really, really great film, and really, really creepy, really spooky. Lots of great, like, alien stuff, even, like, in the spaceship when the guy's been abducted and the stuff he goes through there and stuff. But anyway, it reminded me of that. So there was, like, you know, about 4 or 5, like, movies that I kept seeing kind of, like, homages to in this movie. Yeah, and then, yeah, like, when this guy, Mark, kills these people, he brings them back to this, like, garage, kind of, and lays them out there, and they turn into these, like, pods, like, they grow these pods over them. So, again, like, another Invasion of the Body Snatchers thing. That was, like, totally out of that. So, wasn't the most original movie, I guess, but it did have a very original style to it. Like, the setting in Maine, for one thing, it kind of really worked. It really, really worked in this movie. You know, just kind of the, you know, the woodsy, you know, foresty surroundings, you know, no neighbors around for miles kind of thing. Everybody driving around in their trucks, you know, it really worked. And the guy who played the alien, Mark, what's his name? Let me, get back here to, his name is Josh Ethier. Ethier, E-T-H-I-E-R. He was really good. I really enjoyed him as the alien. He was great. And the guy who played Seth was Graham Skipper, and he was okay too. I like the alien guy better, but he was all right. But I mean, it was a very, very entertaining film. Like, I mean, wasn't boring, didn't really lag or anything like that. There were some great, great scenes. My absolute favorite scene, I will not give it away. All I'll say is that it involves a tentacle in the bedroom, okay? So, there you have it. I would recommend this movie. It's a good watch. It's like a good Saturday night movie. You know, you're sitting around, having a beer, whatever, and watching it. It's, you know, it's good. It's good fun. I enjoyed it. But, the only, you know, kind of critique I would have is I saw a lot of sort of copycat stuff going on in this movie. But I mean, it's the guy's first film, you know. I mean, I'll look forward to seeing what he does in the future, because he definitely has you know, that he's got a good style. He's got you know, he knows what he's doing. He's on his way, I think. So yeah. Anyway, that's basically it. It was a very entertaining alien abduction, alien rampage movie, and I think you'd like it, so do check it out. Okay, hope you like this review, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.